In the Anapanasati Sutta, so that's mindfulness of in and out breathing. I did read this last week, but we're going to look at it in more detail this week. How is mindfulness of in and out breathing developed and pursued so as to be of great fruit and benefit? There is a case where a meditator, having gone to a secluded place, sits down folding their legs crosswise, holding their body erect and setting mindfulness to the front, always mindful they breathe in, mindful they breathe out. Okay, so the first thing that's mentioned there, other than it's of great fruit and benefit, and I just talked a little bit about that, about developing that skill has great benefit, which is the peace in everyday life. Okay, the first one talks about his place. By place, it means somewhere where you won't be disturbed by the outside world. It doesn't mean running away from sounds. You can go climb deep into a cave, go down Jenolan Caves, go deep, deep, deep in the caves, no tourists coming in at the time. It's solidly quiet. And believe me, your mind will provide all the noise and disturbance that you want. The chatter will just increase. The more secluded and quiet place there is, the more chatter will increase. Because our mind likes to be entertained. It likes to be entertained. It's either thinking about something, hearing about something, judging, commenting. And even if you get beyond that, the old ears will start ringing like tinnitus. It'll go, you get the sound. No way, there's no such thing as a quiet place. But what we do is we go to a place, and wherever we pick, it might be the corner of your room. You might decide, okay, the corner of my room, I'm putting a blanket there, that's going to be my special spot. It might be your car. You always go to work or wherever 10 minutes early. Wherever you're going 10 minutes early, you sit in the car and you do your meditation in there. But it's somewhere where you put down your preoccupation with the world. So put down your preoccupation with, I've got to save the world, I've got to do this and that, and if I don't do it, it's all going to fall apart. All these worries and fears and stuff like that. You just put them down for that time being. This room is like that. So when you come in here, you're nobody. You have no history. You have no past, you have no future. You're just sitting in this room right now. Mindfulness is just sitting here, knowing what your experience is now. That's your secluded place. That's your secluded place. Then he talked about posture. Sits down, folding their legs crosswise, holding their body erect. 2,600 years ago, I think everyone sat on the ground. So sitting with crossed legs was quite a normal thing. In a culture where we're always sitting on chairs all the time, our hips have no flexibility in them. So it's very hard to sit on the floor. So there's various ways around that. So we'll look at posture. The first one is sitting on a chair. Okay, so if we're going to sit on a chair, quite often we like to sit like this, don't we? We're sitting watching a movie or something like that. Yeah, we do that. But if you're going to sit on a chair, you can do that if you want. But what happens is body upright. If your body's slumped, your vertebrae are actually crushing and you haven't got as much energy. Quite often we tend to fall asleep when we meditate, don't we? Especially if somebody's not reminding you that you're meditating all the time. So what you do is you sit a bit more forward on the chair, right? And what that does is tilts the hips back a bit and you hold your back straight and balance your head. If you sit like that, the energy races up the spine, you stay more alert. We usually have problems, not enough energy. Yeah, or the right type of energy. Right type of energy. Next one is kneeling stool. This kneeling stool, it's got here, for my best friend, may this stool aid in your being totally end or suffering. This was years ago. She's still my best friend. Still my best friend. Kneeling stool, she used this one. Okay, you put it behind you like this. Notice there's an angle there. Yeah, notice the angle. When you sit back on there, what it does is it tilts the hips forward. You don't need to move the camera, it's okay. You tilt the hips forward like this, with the hips tilting forward. What it does is straighten the spine, and you just kneel like this. So with these sort of postures, you can actually stay there for hours. That's quite comfortable. Again, the straight spine, chin, relaxed. And you don't need the flexible hips to do that. If you're going to sit on the floor, I didn't actually bring a cushion over with me, which I did at yesterday's class. I have here. Usually what it is based on height. This isn't high enough. If your hips aren't flexible, you sit on top of the cushion, right? And then what you do is you bring one foot in, other one in, and allow yourself to fall forward, like that. The less flexible your hips are, the higher your cushion needs to be. And this again tilts the hips and allows the body to go straight. Now you will see people doing stuff like this. And you can do these sort of postures if you want, but what I find is it puts a lot of pressure, it's pressure points. If you're sitting there for a long period of time, it will eventually get painful, yeah? If you use this Burmese posture, one leg in here, the legs don't touch. You can literally, I've 3-4 hours, you can sit without moving in this posture, quite comfortable. Once you get more flexible, you can sit flat on the ground, and what you do is you use what's called a rollback, which means you just put something in that little arch behind your buttocks, and you do that. You're sitting flat on the floor, but you don't roll backwards. Yeah? Postures like full lotus and that, tried it when I was younger. We'd get there, I'd get injured, and then I'd lose it. Eventually I had to let go of that. You don't need it. You don't need it to do the practice. You can do it in any posture. But just be aware when you do, just trying to hold a little bit of effort in the posture when you do it to create that energy. The last one is laying down. You can do mindfulness practice laying down, no problem. It's really good laying on carpet, but when you do, have your arms out to the side, palms facing upwards. If you have your hands over your stomach or just by your side, it's too much like sleep. Our brain says that it's sleep and we'll fall asleep. If you have your palms up like this, the energy tends to travel up, right, when you're laying flat, and you'll find it's not like a natural sleeping posture, and you'll stay very alert, and you can actually do the practice quite deeply like that, no problems at all. Does that make sense on postures? So that's postures. I thought I'd just cover them, the postures. Okay. The next stage here, he talks about setting the mindfulness to the front. Mindful they breathe in, always mindful they breathe in, always mindful they breathe out. Okay, mindfulness to the front. This is very interesting. We'll just do a little exercise around this. Okay, so there's lots of different discussions about this, but basically what we can do is, if we're asked to look at the breath or watch the breath, what's the first thing you do? We kind of look at it like we're looking at it with our eyes, don't we? So you close your eyes, but you kind of try to look at it. So it's almost like you're peering at it. Yeah? So if I've got this clock, we tend to watch the breathing like this, trying to watch it, watch it, watch it. But there's also another way of watching where we can have it here at our peripheral vision. We kind of just know that it's there. We can know its detail, or we put our eyes slightly out of focus. We're looking back, seeing the wider picture. We can know it, but we're not trying to bore into it. And they've got a different feeling to it. So one of them is more you're kind of feeling the breath, the other one is you're looking at it. You're staring at it. And they've got different energies to it. So what I'd like to do is just a little exercise just to get to a feel what that feels like. Want to give it a go? And just a short one, and you let me know the difference between the two. Okay, just close your eyes over lightly and take your posture. Just place your attention in the whole of your body, the feeling of your body. You feel all the sensations in your body. Now, from being aware inside your body, start to notice your breath as it comes in and out. From the tip of your nose, deep down into your belly, and all the way out, allowing it to happen naturally. Looking at it from inside your body. Feeling the length of each breath. Now see if you can adjust your attention to be sitting in front of your body. Pretend you're looking out in front of your body, looking back at the breathing. Looking at it from outside of the body. Now, one point of the breath will look very clear to you, be it the tip of the nose, the chest, or the abdomen. I want you to look closely at that point and watch as the breath passes that point. Notice what it feels like to look closely at it. Now I want you to widen your awareness out into your body, on the outside of your body, and be aware of the breathing coming in and out, just barely from there. Not really looking at it, just knowing that it's coming in and out. Now focus your attention, your awareness back in close again, looking closely at one point, like the tip of the nose or the abdomen. Okay, you can open your eyes now. Okay, there's a little experiment. I just wanted you to feel how awareness can change. Okay, was anyone able to change the focus of their awareness? Firstly, from just being in the body and just being aware of the breath, could we do that first one? Could you bring your attention out and feel like you're looking back from the front? No? Nobody? I'm the only one.
I could.
You could?
Yeah.
Okay, so from the front. Very different feeling?
Yes.
From looking inside?
Yeah.
Very different feeling. How was it? What would you describe it as? Easier, harder?
Oh, no, it wasn't hard at all.
Easier. It's easier and more, it actually becomes more relaxed. Okay, next one. Next one. We actually went in and we focused in closely on the breath, on one point, the tip of the nose, chest or abdomen. Did anyone notice a change in how the breath felt when they looked closely at it?
Warmer.
Yeah? Sorry?
Warmer.
It was warmer, so you were picking up more sensations, you were noticing more sensations. But what else about it? Did you find that the energy increased? It was like there's more energy. You try to look closely and you feel like building up, building up, building up, building up. And if you don't control it, you'll feel like you start to get a little bit more mentally restless. Yeah, that's it. Perfect. Okay. Then we widened our awareness into the outside of our body again. Did you find that energy level changed? Was it suddenly easier again? Nobody noticed any change in widening it? You found it easier?
Yeah.
Some people will find it easier close and some people will find it easier wide. But I'm just interested. I want you to notice what's happening here. There's a change. Then we look close again. Nobody noticed the change between wide to close to wide.
I got drowsy.
You got drowsy in which one?
Widening it out.
Widening, you got drowsy. Yeah, okay. This is why we get to understand. So this is the skill of meditation. This is the skill. When we focus in meditation, what we do is we don't just look at something and hold the same focus. Meditation is a skill in balance of energy. We need to be sensitive. We're not so much interested in the object, but our relationship to it. We look at the object in detail, but there's a relationship going on. So if we're in close, we're watching closely the breath, we're watching in detail, we're seeing your heat and the sensations changing and all this sort of stuff. If we're not paying attention, then in the background the energy is building up, building up, building up, building up. And we're not calming, the mind isn't calming enough to balance out that energy, the mindfulness isn't high enough. What do you think is going to happen to our mind? It's going to wander. Suddenly you'll feel restless. Sometimes if a lot of energy is building up, you'll feel like bump, 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 and then you're off. You'll go to a sound, you'll go to that, your body will start moving, all this sort of stuff. If we widen our awareness, since our energy is more, our concentration is more dispersed, the energy build-up isn't as big. So what happens is you'll find that the energy will start to settle down and it'll become easier, right? But if your energy levels aren't high enough, for a lot of people they can fall asleep because they haven't got anything to focus on. Now some people naturally tend towards being able to concentrate in close, look closely. Some people work better when their attention is wide. Yeah? This is what you have to find out for yourself. Which is most comfortable for you? Looking closely or looking from a distance? Bare attention or very focused attention? And that will denote the path for you. But the balance in meditation, this mindfulness of the in and out breath or breathing, is mindfulness of your balance of your energy. As meditation develops, the object gets more subtle, the mind gets more subtle. Basically, the tightrope gets thinner. You're walking along with a pole. This is energy, right? This side's energy. This side is the relaxation or widening the attention. Sometimes you've got to, if the energy is getting too high, you've got to bring up the other side to balance it like this. You're forever balancing. As you go along, this balance becomes more and more finely tuned, otherwise you'll suddenly slip off. You either go too much towards sleep, or you'll suddenly shoot off and become restless. So you'll find as your concentration develops, that balance of the energy becomes finer. How you balance it is by backing off your attention, focusing your attention, backing off, focusing. When you first start, you back right off and then come right in, back right off. As the skill increases, you'll have little adjustments. Little out, little in, little out, little in, depending on whether the mind's settling or whether it's starting to get restless. Whether the awareness is dropping and you're dulling out, right? If you're dulling out, you want to widen your awareness. You want to widen it. Yeah? You've got to get this balance of energy and mindfulness. And mindfulness is the factor that we're developing, the ability to know what's going on, what we're experiencing, is allowing us to know how to develop that so that the practice will keep developing. In that letting go practice we were doing at the beginning, we're basically doing the same thing. You're letting go, letting go, letting go of what? Of your resistance. You're being aware of your resistance. Relaxing into that, relaxing into it, relaxing into it. Yeah? If you weren't aware of it, it will stop the practice from developing. You'll get to a point and you'll find you won't be able to go any deeper. Does that make sense? Yeah, so that's what the beginning of that talk we're talking about. Next week he'll actually go on talk about watching the breath in more detail. So we'll actually take that and we'll do some little exercises and start learning how to take that into our practice.